Good morning. It is Wednesday, May the 12th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Now, only a day into the new school term, and students at Ellerslie Secondary School are back to online classes after one of them tested positive for COVID-19. It follows the discovery of a positive COVID-19 case with a sixth form student yesterday that led to the school being closed and students who had arrived being sent back home. Reports indicate that changes affected mostly students of the 5th and 6th forms. CBC News reached out to the Ellerslie School principal, Stacey Austin, for comment, but was told she was meeting with staff members. However, the morning report has been reliably informed that some parents have been unreceptive to the contact tracing process. The Health Minister, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic, issued a statement last night.
A student from the Ellerslie Secondary School is among 4 persons testing positive today out of 436 tests that were carried out overnight at the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. All 4 cases are being investigated, but this particular one, involving a minor, is receiving the vigorous attention of public health officials as they seek to conduct the customary contact tracing and sourcing exercise. Already, several primary and other contacts of the student have been tested, and we expect to be in a position to shed further light on this developing situation. Let me take this opportunity, as I often do, to remind everyone to continue to follow all of the public health protocols. And please do not use the mask as a necktie. Full adherence to the protocols will offer you a high level of protection. And this one is especially for our nation's school children. Please, please, wear your mask, not only in school, but also out of school at the bus stops, on public transport, in your communities. It is very, very important that you adhere to all protocols in and out of school.
And with that advice, the Health Minister is expected to host a news conference later on today. Meanwhile, there is more unfortunate news with another COVID-19 related death.
It is with great sadness that I inform you of the passing of another daughter of the soil who succumbed to the COVID-19 virus last night. The 66-year-old female had a history of diabetes, hypertension, and shortness of breath. She was a primary contact of a COVID-positive patient who tested positive on the 5th of May 2021. She had a negative first COVID-19 test and presented for her second test yesterday. Sometime after returning home, she regrettably passed away. Sincere condolences are extended to her family and friends. May she rest in peace.
On that note, we'll take a break here and come back with more COVID-19 updates. Time now to look at the numbers, and 4 people, all females, tested positive for COVID-19 on Monday from the 436 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. There were also 9 recoveries, while 111 people remain in isolation. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases is 3,950. That's 1,910 females and 2,040 males. And there have been 3,870 recoveries. Since February 2020, the Public Health Lab has carried out 159,886 tests. 75,537 people, meanwhile, have been vaccinated with first and second doses against COVID-19. Of that number, 34,653 people have been fully vaccinated. Barbados got a much-needed boost in its ongoing efforts to achieve herd immunity against COVID-19 with the arrival of its second shipment of vaccines through the COVAX facility yesterday. With the country having already vaccinated thousands of people with first and second doses, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley used the opportunity to, among other things, address the issue of when children are likely to be vaccinated. Rianne Phillips has more.
Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley says in comparison to millions of adults already receiving their COVID-19 shots globally, the vaccination drive for children is in its early stages.
And now we have then started to focus on those under 18 with respect to vaccinations, which, as you know, is still very much in its embryonic stages globally, with yesterday only another drug company after coming out and indicating that they've had the approvals. Our brothers and sisters in Cuba have also indicated that they're in an advanced stage with a vaccine for adolescents, and we therefore look to see how best we can contract or procure any of these vaccines, but at this stage it is still too early to give any definitive guidelines or framework.
Ms. Motley was speaking moments after the second batch of 33,600 COVID-19 vaccines touched down at the Grantley Adams International Airport around 7:30 a.m. The Prime Minister also used the opportunity to again voice concern about vaccine distribution on the international stage.
We cannot wrestle COVID-19 to the ground unless there is vaccine equity and unless there is coordinated actions across countries and not by single countries one by one by one. I therefore use this opportunity this morning, first and foremost, to remind us at the global level that there is nothing stopping us from a global summit other than us. If ever there was a need for political will in the post-1945 world, it is today as we speak.
However, Barbados' progress with vaccinating its adult population has not gone unnoticed by PAHO and World Health officials.
I could say for Barbados, from my observation, the uptake has been very encouraging. So to have the second dose at this point in time, the second deployment, and then people to access vaccine is timely. I applaud again your government and then the leadership from the Ministry of Health to ensure vaccines are available to all who needs it.
Another shipment of vaccines is expected as officials pave the way for those adults who want the vaccine to get it. Rianne Phillips, CBC News.
The Ministry of International Business and Industry, located on the 8th floor of the Baobab Tower in Warren, St. Michael, has been closed due to a staff member there testing positive for COVID-19. The individual, who was working remotely following the first test, was confirmed positive after the second test. As a precautionary measure, the office was closed and will be sanitized. Employees will also be tested. The services of the ministry remain accessible virtually. During this time, queries may be emailed to ib.info@barbados.gov.bb. That's ib.info@barbados.gov.bb. The public is also asked to note that the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office has not been affected. A 17-year-old girl is among 5 new coronavirus deaths reported in Jamaica over the past 24 hours, as 2 other Caribbean countries, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, also recorded deaths and increased cases of the virus. The Ministry of Health in Trinidad said there were 9 deaths, pushing the total there to 224, while 384 new cases were registered from samples taken between May 8th and the 10th. In Jamaica, the 17-year-old girl is among 5 COVID-19 related deaths recorded in the past 24 hours, pushing the tally there to 814. Guyana has recorded 2 more COVID-19 deaths, taking that country's overall death toll since March last year to 331. The latest fatalities are a 78-year-old male from Region 3 and a 69-year-old female from Region 4. They both died while receiving care at a medical facility. Over in India, the coronavirus crisis there has shown scant sign of easing despite a 7-day average of new cases now at a record high, and international health authorities warning that the variant of the virus found there poses a global concern. India's daily coronavirus cases rose by 329,942, while deaths from the disease rose by 3,876.
India is home to nearly half the world's coronavirus cases. During the past few weeks, it has recorded hundreds of thousands of cases every day. But experts believe the actual figure could be much higher. The surge is believed to be fueled by a new strain of the virus, one that the World Health Organization is studying closely.
There is some available information to suggest increased transmissibility of B1617. There is a preprint that is out, so this is a paper that has not undergone peer review, and it's of a limited number of patients, suggesting that there is some reduced neutralization, and as such we are classifying this as a variant of concern at the global level.
For almost a week, southern India has been seeing a huge spike in cases, increasing pressure on already scarce medical supplies. People have been waiting for hours outside this medical college in Chennai. The queue is for remdesivir, a drug used to treat COVID-19. The large crowd and lack of social distancing raising concerns.
If this is the case, actually we are talking about a pandemic to be handled in this way. I don't think so we will be getting any recovery in very soon. In fact, I feel like I'm infected now. I've come to collect from my mother a drug and I feel now I'm infected. And I don't know what to do.
Cities including Mumbai and New Delhi, which have seen a dip in cases, are continuing to ramp up healthcare facilities. Even with international aid coming in, supplies of medicines and oxygen are falling short of what is needed. But makeshift facilities like this one at a Sikh temple in New Delhi are proving to be a lifeline for patients. With 250 beds, this temporary multi-purpose care center is equipped with oxygen concentrators, cylinders and ambulances. The doctors and nurses have been provided by the Delhi government. An ICU bed is also available if needed. All amenities are free for the patients.
Serving others in the time of need is in our blood. Right now, everyone is scared. In the last wave, people were more scared, although this one is more brutal. In the last phase, people were hesitant in going near their family members.
As experts warn of a potential third wave of COVID-19, some are making advanced preparations to try to ensure they're not caught off guard again.
A worrying situation there in India. Well, time now to check in with Pearson to see what's happening on today's edition of Morning Barbados. Over to you, Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. When you join me in just about 15 minutes right here on Morning Barbados, we are just days away from this 2021 Miss Universe pageant. We have a beauty there representing Barbados as well in Hilary Ann Williams. We'll get an update on where she is and what's going on with her. We'll also today be celebrating International Nurses Day with the Nurses Association of Barbados, and they'll be giving their voice to leadership in nursing. And also The Voice, Barry Chandler. What's become of him? He'll join us this morning, find out that and a whole lot more right here on Morning Barbados. Back to you.
And after the break, we have some good news for bar and shop owners here in Barbados. You'll hear what it is. Shop and bar owners around the island should see a significantly improved process when they seek to obtain liquor licenses in the future. This is several changes have been proposed to the existing legislation. The House of Assembly started debate on the Liquor Licenses Bill 2021 yesterday. Under the new law, the responsibility of administering liquor licenses will be moved from the Magistrates Court and will instead fall under a dedicated unit to be created in the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. In an effort to increase the ease of doing business, the Minister of Small Business and Entrepreneurship, Kerry Simmons, says a new category of license will be introduced to replace the occasional liquor license, which some small business owners are forced to renew regularly.
The solution that we find in this legislation, sir, is the creation of an entertainment license. We are correcting a policy construct that, beyond being antiquated, has been a disincentive to entertainment-related business activity. But with an entertainment license, sir, now you can have a place in which you operate, and that place, Mr. Speaker, sir, is licensed properly. Gone now, hopefully forever, will be the days of people having to go and renew a license week after week after week in order to be able to earn a living honestly in the land of their birth.
In news on CARICOM, the Caribbean community has appointed its first female Secretary General. She is Belizean Dr. Carla Barnett, an economist who Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Motley has described as the perfect candidate for the job in the region at this time when economies have collapsed, and what we need is sound economists to lead us on a path to growth. Dr. Barnett is a former Vice President of the Belize Senate and has served in various ministerial capacities in her country's government. She has also served as Financial Secretary of Belize and the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Belize, as well as the Vice President of Operations at the CDB. In hailing the unanimous appointment for Dr. Barnett by CARICOM heads of government in a virtual meeting yesterday, Ms. Motley noted that given the challenges the region is now facing, the background of the new Secretary General will be serving the grouping well. The 8th person to hold the post, that's what she will become, the former Deputy General Secretary of CARICOM, will assume office on August 15th, replacing Ambassador Erwin LaRocque, who led the Guyana-based CARICOM Secretariat for 2 terms. The Prime Minister also paid tribute to the outgoing Secretary General, noting that Barbados and the region benefited significantly from Ambassador LaRocque's vast knowledge and experience on trade matters at a time when the region needed it most. The Israeli military continued its bombardment of the besieged Gaza Strip last night, targeting several areas after rockets were fired from the enclave. Health authorities in Gaza said at least 32 Palestinians, including 10 children, were killed in Israeli strikes on the Strip since late on Monday after Hamas launched rockets from the coastal territory towards Israel.
International calls for de-escalation continue to go unheard. It's been the most intense exchange of fire since 2014. In Gaza City, an Israeli airstrike hit a residential building. The army says it had told people living in Hanadi Tower to move out before it was bombed. Gaza's health ministry says at least 30 Palestinians have been killed across the Strip and more than 200 have been injured. Well, this was the view from the ground where the tower came crashing down. Rescue workers have been combing the rubble looking for any survivors.
In response, the Palestinian fighting groups, armed groups including Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and other smaller groups, as we hear just an explosion. It's very close to our office. They hit the building that I just mentioned minutes ago. Yeah, this is a warning rocket. We call it a warning rocket when the Israeli drone hit the building with a small rocket, which is the last or the final warning, which will be followed or expected to be followed by bigger Israeli rockets, which will bring it all down. We will have to move now down, and all. It's very close to the office, and we expect that the destruction of this building could fly and reach even our office, because only a few meters separates between our office and this building. that is expected to be destroyed anytime.
At least 9 people were killed, including 7 children. And this happened yesterday after a lone teenage gunman opened fire at a school in Russia's southwestern city of Kazan. And this is according to local authorities. 4 boys and 3 girls were among the victims.
A 19-year-old suspect has been arrested and police have opened a criminal investigation. Such attacks are rare in Russia, as Andrew Simmons reports.
Shock and disbelief outside a school. Inside, a lone teenager had run amok, shooting indiscriminately. The reality had shattered a normal teaching day in the building known simply as School 175. Unsurprisingly, there was panic. Some of the students had run for cover. Teachers had slammed doors shut. At least 2 students had jumped out of windows. Others were able to wait until emergency teams rescued them. The security forces, heavily armed and in large numbers, arrived quickly and arrested the suspected killer. He's reported to be 19 years old and a registered gun owner. It's unclear what motive he had for the attack. Some eyewitnesses say it wasn't only gunshots that they heard.
There was 1 explosion, or maybe 2. There was a strong bang. We jumped up and thought it was a truck. Then we heard alarms and ran out.
It isn't clear whether the noise was action being taken by the security forces or the attacker. But there was debris both inside and outside the building. Scenes of school shootings may be almost commonplace in the United States. In Russia, they're rare. And shortly after the attack came a statement from the Kremlin. President Vladimir Putin had appointed the head of the National Guard to immediately look at imposing new, stricter controls over the types of weapons in use by civilians. How and why such an attack happened in a school that didn't even have any security is being investigated.
In sports, maybe some good news for cricket fans here. Kensington Oval has been confirmed as the venue to kickstart Pakistan's tour of the Caribbean. It means that both Australia and now Pakistan will take on the Windies in limited over series scheduled for late July here in Barbados. Tour plans are still being finalized, but Kensington is to host 2 or more T20 matches between the Windies and Pakistan before the visitors travel on to Guyana and Jamaica for the remainder of their trip. Additionally, Barbados has been penciled in for 3 ODIs against the Aussies. In an exclusive interview with CBC Sports, President of the Barbados Cricket Association, Conde Riley, says a massive cleanup effort will be undertaken of the entire facility following the ashfall from the La Soufrière volcano over in St. Vincent, and they should be in a good position in 2 months' time.
You already started on the pitches. You know, you had serious volcanic ash. We got to clean. Well, that's really Comey's responsibility to clean all the stands with the ash and so on. But we have the time to do it. And I think my board will be committed to hosting those 2 on the all-white ball tours, ODIs and T20s at the back end of July. So we get to work on that. We started on the pitches already. Your field is lush and green, but, you know, all the asphalt on the pitches, you had to get that out and so on. But our consultant, Prof. Edwards, he's been working on that with the ground staff. We should be ready by the end of July. As you know, the senior men and women have started training, so the nets are up and running. We just make sure that the center with all the pitches for the international games are in pristine condition to accommodate the Australia and Pakistan tour.
Now, the last time the Windies played Pakistan at Kensington Oval was back in 2017 for 1 test match and 1 T20 international, while the regional boys clashed with the Aussies back in 2016 in a tri-series that also included South Africa. Now there is hope that spectators will be able to fill some of the seats at Kensington for what should be 2 action-packed series. However, the BCA president says that depends on the COVID-19 situation here in Barbados and also on government's approval.
It depends on how many people we can get vaccinated time the end of July. But that is the call of the Ministry of Health as to whether we will allow spectators in to Kensington Oval to watch these games. But they're all going to be white ball cricket. Australia ODIs and Pakistan T20s. As I said, the protocols will come from the Ministry of Health. We may have to space people like every 2 seats or something, you know, if government allows spectators to come to the Oval. This is a very fluid period. unprecedented, if I may say so. And we got to play it by ear and put health and safety first.
We're really hoping for the best with that situation. Time now to look at the weather. Outside is looking pretty okay as we probably get a view of the outside camera and see how things are shaping up on the outside. But I can tell you, it's bright from early. The sun rises at around 12 minutes after 5 now as we move into summer. The temperature right now, 26 degrees Celsius. It's partly cloudy and windy. It's feeling more like 28 though, as the relative humidity stands at 63%. Even with that drying out of the atmosphere, we had some late night showers. Barometric pressure right now is 1015 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east. They've picked back up slightly, blowing at 32 kilometers per hour. You'll get a low tide coming our way around 13 minutes after 10. The high tide will be in the afternoon at 14 minutes to 5. Those seas are calm to moderate in open water. Swells are peaking at 2 meters and holding steady. Today here in Barbados, it will be partly sunny with a few brief isolated light showers. And tonight we'll get a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. Over in the Lesser Antilles, it will be fair to occasionally cloudy there. They'll be getting a nice breeze as well with a few scattered showers. And tonight, much of the same, getting some light showers, and it will be fair to occasionally cloudy. In London, still some showers and some cloud cover, but getting up to 15 degrees Celsius. That's not too bad. In Frankfurt, the high will be 18. In both cities, they're getting down to 8 degrees Celsius, still in single digits at some times. In Montreal, 22 the high, 9 the low. In Toronto, it will be 15 the high and down to 10. Boston and New York, the sun is out, and they're both getting up to 20 degrees Celsius today. And Miami getting a cool off after yesterday's scorcher, getting up to 27 degrees Celsius with some showers and thunderstorm. The minimum temperature there will be 23 degrees Celsius. And that's it for this edition of the Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday, the 12th of May, 2021. I'm Pearson Bowen. This is Morning Barbados. And to all of you on our Facebook stream, good morning. CBC Barbados, thank you for joining us. And on our YouTube channel, Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, always great having you company as well. Today, we'll be taking another look at men's health, in particular, again, the prostate. It's so critical, gentlemen, that you pay attention when our urologist comes around. We'll share with you some other ways that their treatments are being rendered and the opportunity for you to get better very quickly and safely as well. Also today, we'll be meeting a brand new voice on 98.1 The One. Who is he? You know him. You'll be introducing you again to him this morning. But let's get started by heading over to the beauty of them all. Miss Universe Barbados, Hilary Ann Williams, has already left the island to represent us in the upcoming Miss Universe show. We're just days away. And so we're happy to be joined this morning by the Director of Media Relations and PR with Miss Universe Barbados, and my friend, Gaynell Marshall. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson. How are you?
I'm
Morning,
doing well.
Barbados.
Good to see you. No, I was tempted to start with thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road. We're back again. Hard is true.
We're
You're a
back
pal
again.
and you're confident. How you doing, though, for real?
You know it well.
You know.
I am doing wonderfully this morning, and thank you so much for reaching out to the organization. You know, it was darn near impossible to get Miss Hillary Ann at this hour of the morning. At this time, there's going to be a national chaperone knocking on her door to start the day. It is work from the word go.
Wow. So how has it been going, though? What reports have you been hearing coming from Hillary Ann?
Hillary Ann has definitely traveled the globe in a very short space of time, literally meeting every young delegate from around the world. She has already sat in on a number of talk piece sessions. She has, of course, met the reigning Ms. Zosie, as well as had the official dinner with Ms. Paula Shugart, who is the owner of the franchise. She was also involved in an impromptu live conversation, which grew into something bigger. She was on with Miss Universe Mexico, and they were both exchanging their stories and relating to each other and sharing with a wider global audience their experiences and what they have learned having been impacted by gender-based violence, which, as she has said on your show before, is definitely the platform, and her advocacy surrounds that. So she has been living 3 lifetimes in a week so far.
Preparing to send her off, though, must have been so interesting, so hectic as well, because, you know, you have to get wardrobe, everything has to be in place. So how has that been, and who have been the people working with you and your organization to get her ready for this stage?
Luckily, Crown Events understands that we do teams. Why? Because we cannot do it all. There are people who prepare for this, people who prepare for that. And because of the amazing contacts that we have managed to garner over the years in terms of sponsorship, people like Henry's, those dripping, fabulous gowns, not an accident. Okay, that was a full road trip to Ohio for the selection, for the fittings, for the final fittings, for the shipment, etc. And we have been so fortunate in that everybody has their area of expertise. This is probably one of the finest lookbooks that Brian Green has been able to curate. And that's one measure of it. Then we have people here on the ground who will help her get ready. And just like a mother or father would be grateful to know that their elder siblings will help get the younger ones ready, we also have a team of queens who help her, you know, in terms of walking, poise, what to expect, even the packing process. Because trust me, I don't know when you've packed 9 suitcases, Pearson, but I have never. They have to be numbered, they have to be labeled, they have to be sorted, they have to be categorized. There is no time to waste, stutter, skip. Everything is down to the plan. The earrings are not an accident. Everything has to be a science. And like I said, we've been fortunate in that we've been able to draw on everyone's strengths so that we can keep everyone abreast and sane, because it can be a pretty manic process.
I can well imagine. And for anyone who's just joining us right now who are wondering, okay, so I don't recall, let's share a piece of who Hillary Ann Williams is, and then we'll talk about that after this one. Take a look, everyone.
Great.
Hi everyone, I'm Hillary Ann Williams, Miss Universe Barbados. Barbados is a 166 square mile island. You always know someone no matter where you go. Barbadians are some of the most welcoming, friendly people you will ever meet. During the pandemic, like most people, I had experienced job displacement. I was actually working in the travel industry at the time, and I had to really pivot and figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And that is when I decided to become the CEO of my own digital marketing agency, and I have clients from across the Caribbean and the United States and Canada. I am also a survivor of gender-based violence. It could happen to absolutely anybody. That is why I choose to use my platform and my voice as often and as passionately as I can, because I think safety is an absolute right. It is not an option, and every woman needs to know that she's not alone going through this process, and that there are outlets for her to seek safety.
What a beautiful, beautiful, stunning person, and very intelligent, Gina. What a wonderful choice on behalf of the pageant. Thank you.
I feel weird saying you're welcome, because, you know, it really is one of those things where when the opportunity comes, you have to be prepared to go for it. And that in and of itself is half the battle won. She was ready for the challenge. I mean, I'm just going to say straight out, no queen has worked me harder. Not because she's difficult, but she wants to do so many things.
Yes,
Every other
yes.
day I get a new message. Oh, can we do one of these? I'd like to go live. I got invited to do this. Can we do this? And I'm like, yes. Yes, you can, because I recognize it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You will never get this moment back. And when you find someone who wants to work even harder than you do, buckle up and get to work.
What a beautiful experience indeed. Now, with the show just a matter of days away, you know, I'm sure you want to garner
Sunday,
everyone.
May 16th.
Yeah, everyone here to support our contestant, our Miss Universe Barbados. So how can we get involved in supporting Hillary Ann from here?
You know what? Just what you are doing right now. There has been so much online active engagement. And thank God for social media. Because, I mean, the shooting up of the flags and the hearts and just spreading the word that this is our girl. This is the one we're backing, we're showing support for. Nobody needs money. There's no crowdfunding. There's no subscription. None of it. All we need is the love. She does feel it. She does acknowledge it. She sends it back daily. And that's really all you need. That's all any other country really does, give their delegate once they have left their shores. Because I think I have a feeling about how parents feel when they first let their children go. First day of school or university, you have to let them go and say, Lord, in your hands. So, but she has been navigating this process like a champion. And every day it's a new adventure. And yeah, it doesn't mean that every day is roses. What day would that be, right? But every day is a brand new process, and the steely resolve is growing every day. The smile is getting brighter. She's getting super excited. She literally cannot wait to show you everything she has poured into this process and that we have poured into this process for over a year now, especially during COVID.
So we're coming up on May the 16th, Miss Universe. It's when we will get to see our girl on stage, and we all here will be glued to our television screens. On what channel will we be able to see the pageant?
Well, you know, I can't really call it a channel. What I can say is that it's whatever TNT shows on, that's what it's going to be.
It's on TNT.
I don't know numbers, Pearson.
That's all right. That's all right. TNT is where you'll find the Miss Universe pageant coming up. And of course, we'll be continuing to remind everyone as we head towards that day, because we want everyone to witness the stunning, beautiful Barbadian lass walking the stage representing us at Miss Universe Barbados. And of course, you know, as you can see on your screen, ways that you can vote for your favorite delegate. And we encourage you to do so as soon as possible. Get in there, get going. We really want to lend and show Hillary Ann our full support. She is beautiful and intelligent, most of all, and she is supporting a very worthy cause as well, which we encourage you to pay greater attention to. So give me a sense, Ginel, of the team who are with her right now overseas.
Right now, she is in the team of Miss Universe, but yes, our National Director Brian Green has made his way over because they're in Hollywood, Florida. This is where the show is going to be. And he has made his way over to Florida. So he's within, you know, breathing distance, whatever she needs, if he's got to nip out and get something or, you know, just to be that ear. And I must say, and I know he doesn't like to talk about it, but I do. He has been known to change sleeping patterns. You'll remember that one year the show was in Singapore. You'll remember, sorry, in Thailand. You'll remember one year it was, I mean, it was in Asia. He changed his entire sleep pattern so that when they were up, he was up. When they were down, he was down. And that's the level of dedication that, you know, she has. But again, thank God for social media. You can get your fitness coach. So like Carrie from Basa Basa, who is a magician with a body. You know, if you need to get a little extra, you know, what should I do? If you need to get a little extra poise, and you can contact Megan Bibbles here, or Leslie Chapman Andrews, or Janae Padmore. She wants an extra session because she will fit one in where she can. She will call me, you know, and that's the beauty of having a network, that you can always find somebody just to tighten up any area that you're not feeling 100% in. And most of the time, it's not that she's not feeling great. She just wants to stay sharp.
Wow.
And you gotta love that.
You gotta love it indeed. So we have mere seconds left again, and as the broadcast to you are, I'll give you a chance to remind all of us when it is Miss Universe pageant and how we can all lend our support and the team.
First of all, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. So we are Miss Universe Barbados BB. Super easy to follow. Like and share everything that you can. Throw up those flags, throw up those hearts. Now, the show is going to be this Sunday, and that's May 16th. It's going to be an 8 p.m. start. There are going to be new hosts this year. Former Miss Universe herself from the U.S., Olivia Colpo, alongside Mario Lopez. And it's going to be in Hollywood, Florida, but you can be in Barbados or anywhere in the world and support your girl. But again, we send up footage. We flood your timelines daily. All you have to do is click, follow, like, and share.
Simple Simon May the Pieman. So when that gift arrives, the card will say, thank you for being a friend. And best of luck to Hilary Ann Williams as well.
I will send your love. Thank you, Barbados. Thank you, Pearson.
You're very welcome, Gaynell Marshall. Thank you so much, Gaynell Marshall, who is the Director of Media Relations and Public Relations with Miss Universe Barbados, reminding us, come Sunday, we are before the channel TNT on your MCTV platform, because Hilary Ann Williams from 8 o'clock will be hitting the stage to represent Barbados and possibly could be the next Miss Universe. You don't want to miss it as well. Lend your full support to her effort there in Florida. We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, even more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Today, being May the 12th, is also International Nurses Day, and we're happy to be joined this morning by the first Vice President of the Barbados Nurses Association, in Kathleen Brathwaite, and also Mr. Bernard Beckles, who is the Chairman of the Education Committee. Good morning, both of you, and congratulations on today. I can't hear either of you, but that's all right, we'll work that through. And you may be asking, folks, why today, May 12th, is recognized as International Nurses Day. It's because it's the birth date of the nurse of all nurses, Florence Nightingale. And so the theme this year is A Voice to Lead, a Vision for Future Healthcare. And so I'd like to hear from you first, Vice President Brathwaite, on what that means to this Barbados Nurses Association.
Okay, so good morning, Barbados. The theme, a voice to lead, a vision for future healthcare, I think is very pivotal at this time. It gives us an opportunity for us to rethink and recalibrate how we do things. It gives an opportunity for us to revamp how we are going forward. We appreciate that COVID has come to us and it has demonstrated some challenges within our healthcare system, and it puts us in that position where we can say, okay, well, these are our limitations and this is what we need to get the ground rolling to transform nursing.
As it relates to the vision for healthcare, though, have you been able to, in your organization, Nurses Association, be given a seat at the table to say, you know, these are the things that we see, and this is the level of experience that we can bring to any discussion on any healthcare need in the island?
I think that we have, in previous situations, been given a seat, especially of coming out of COVID. However, I would like to see that seat be a little bit more visible. We have these seats, however, we're not seeing the consistency in terms of carrying out our mandates or having the nurses lead certain situations. Now, you can appreciate that we as nurses have a unique position in terms of being intimate with patient care and really driving forces behind actual contact with the patient. So we know how the patients think, how they feel, those intimate things that the other healthcare professionals may not have the time or the QA to particularly address. So I believe that while we do have a seat, it needs to be a little bit more forefront. It needs to be more leadership opportunities and more out there and inclusive with respect to developing policies.
In terms of all that's been happening right now, there's so many things happening health-wise, and the nurse, as you said, is at the forefront of patient care. How has that been able to impact on each person who is a nurse on the island from your organization's point of view, and what would you want the general population and the powers that be to be able to do to support you in your nursing?
Can you repeat that again? I didn't hear all of the questions, sorry.
I'm saying that there are so many other health challenges that are presenting right now, and naturally the nurse is at the forefront of patient care. What do you now need for all of us as a population and for our policymakers to know more so that we can support you in what you do as nurses?
I think I have heard, it was still a little bit glitchy, but what I understand you have asked is what do we as nurses need for the public and policymakers?
Pretty much that's it. Pretty much that's it. Tell me what you think you've heard. Go ahead.
Okay, so I think that policymakers need to take us seriously. First, we also need to take ourselves seriously. Recognize that we are leaders within our own right. Recognize that we have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And in making those policies and in setting out those directives as to how we are pushing nursing forward and healthcare generally within Barbados, we need to have and sit intimately and discuss the realities of our particular environment and structure those policies and situations so that we get the best health outcomes for our patients.
Mr. Beckles, you are chairman of the Education Committee, and no doubt nurses have to stay on the cutting edge, the forefront of everything, because a pandemic just throws everything into the air, and now we have to be ready, literally ready. So how has it been for you from where you sit in terms of ensuring that nurses are adequately prepared through education?
So, Pearson, I find that nurses, because they work so hard, we don't get a chance to attend as many sessions as we would like to. The continuing education sessions that we are being provided with sometimes are not in the same time frame as you would like, because we work shifts and what's not. And as chair of the Education Committee, I believe that it is part of our responsibility to help to provide the educational opportunities for our nurses so that they can stay, as you said, on the cutting edge of healthcare and up with the technologies, because healthcare is ever changing. So we are positioning ourselves to not only fall in line with what is changing regionally and internationally, but also to follow the data, do some research, and try to put nurses in a position where they will be able to learn from past experiences, build on current experiences, and then look towards the future as well.
And so the delivery of that education, how have you been able to stay relevant with that delivery?
It's been challenging. You know that COVID has really changed the game as to how education is delivered. The majority of persons obviously would prefer face-to-face, and nursing is a practical profession. So when we do our face-to-face sessions, we're probably able to do return demonstrations and what's not. But because of COVID, now we have moved totally virtual. It has been challenging, but the nurses are responding. Those of us who are not so technologically savvy, you know, are getting on board, and it's been going pretty good.
Ms. Brathwaite, tell me a little bit about that, because getting oneself ready to adopt the whole skill of nursing, you know, we know the Barbados Community College accredits and so on, and then you can have other regional boards accrediting you as well. How has that really been going? What are some of the challenges the Nurses Association has been faced with where that's concerned?
Pearson,
You're still
repeat the question. I'm seeming to having...
I'm looking at accreditation through our college and accreditation regionally as well for nurses. All right, while she tries
I heard accreditation. I heard accreditation through college.
All right, so you tell me. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Tell me.
I'm not sure the entire question, but I heard accreditation through college. So I am going to assume that you were speaking about the Barbados Community College, and yes, okay. So the Barbados Community College is where we are instructed to learn nursing. We've extended our tentacles to the University of the West Indies, where it does some advanced training, the master's programs, but our basic training begins at Barbados Community College in the Bachelor of Science, which the associate degree was now a Bachelor of Science degree, and the Barbados Nurses Association is supportive. However, we had some discussions in previous years about creating an actual school of nursing that caters to specifically the peculiarities of nurses and nursing, as opposed to having it within the constraints of a college or at the Barbados Community College.
That sounds very positive for the future. Now, there are a number of events that you've been doing to mark this week as you mark Nurses Week in Barbados. I know you would have had your virtual church service gone. You have had a webinar as well, panel discussion. But today, there's another webinar that you're having. What can you tell us about that? Who's going to tell us about that?
So I can do that, Pearson. So today, we are going to look at some futuristic topics as it relates to healthcare in Barbados. We're going to start at 6 p.m. and the topic for the first session is on ECMO. ECMO stands for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. So we're going to look at how it's being used and how it's saving lives in today's medical management. Now, especially because of our COVID situation, once patients reach the end of what we can provide medically, the international world has moved towards this position of ECMO, or they are implementing it into current care. And we in Barbados are not to that stage as yet, but hopefully through this particular session and others to come, we can get there eventually. As it relates to the second session, we are going to touch on this topic of medical cannabis. We know that it will soon be rolled out, and as nurses, we will be at the forefront of the administration and delivery of healthcare. So we're going to see how we can integrate medical cannabis into current care, and then we will look at this ever-changing topic of technology and how we can get ready to integrate technology into healthcare and into our world as nurses.
And then the week continues with fun and games evening. You have a walk-up workout session. That sounds interesting. And at the end of it all, you're going to say thank you. Naturally, nurses have to stay fit and are still on the cutting edge with their own fitness as well as we care for us as well. I think the whole population joins this morning in saying thank you to all that you've been able to do for each of us. I know I've had my experiences with nurses, and I'm ever so grateful for the care and attention and dedication given to me. And I'm sure many are saying the same thing this morning and saying thank you too. We wish you the best of luck with the continued activities throughout the week, and we hope to hear even more from the Barbados Nurses Association as well coming up. But we encourage everyone to be a part of the activities and support the nurses. If you see them today, say a big thank you for all that they've been able to do for us. A voice to lead, a vision for future healthcare. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Bernard Nichols, who is the chairman of the Education Committee, and Kathleen Brathwaite, who is the first vice president of the Barbados Nurses Association. Best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you. Happy International Nurses Day to all nurses.
Well done. All right, let's take a look at our good decision of the day today, brought to you by Glucerna. Remember, Glucerna has those nutrients to support your immune system. So what is today's good decision of the day? We remind you today to label your emotions. People are often more inclined to say things like, I have butterflies in my stomach, or I had a lump in my throat, rather than using the feeling words like sad or nervous to describe their emotional state. Make it a daily habit to label your feelings. Note whether you're feeling sad, angry, embarrassed, anxious, or disappointed. Then take a minute to consider how those emotions may be influencing your decisions. That's a good decision today. Label your emotions, brought to you by Glucerna, with those nutrients to support your immune system. We'll take a break right here. When we come back, we'll update you on the news.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So what's the news? Let's get an update now from Shane Seeley.
Yes, here's your 7 a.m. headline news. Students at Ellerslie Secondary School are back at home today and back to online classes after one of them tested positive for COVID-19. This after the discovery of a positive case with a sixth form student on the first day that led to the school being closed early yesterday and students being sent back home. Reports indicate that the changes affected mostly upper school students in the 5th and 6th forms. CBC News reached out to the Ellerslie School Principal, Stacey Austin, for comment, but was told she was meeting with staff members at that time. However, the morning report has learnt that some parents have been unreceptive to the contact tracing process. Health Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick issued a statement last night. Here's what he had to say.
Student from the Ellerslie Secondary School is among 4 persons testing positive today out of 436 tests that were carried out overnight at the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. All 4 cases are being investigated, but this particular one, involving a minor, is receiving the vigorous attention of public health officials as they seek to conduct the customary contact tracing and sourcing exercise. Already, several primary and other contacts of the student have been tested, and we expect to be in a position to shed further light on this developing situation. Let me take this opportunity, as I often do, to remind everyone to continue to follow all of the public health protocols. And please do not use the mask as a necktie. Full adherence to the protocols will offer you a high level of protection. And this one is especially for our nation's school children. Please, please, wear your mask, not only in school, but also out of school at the bus stops, on public transport, in your communities. It is very, very important that you adhere to all protocols in and out of school.
Now you can look out for a news conference today hosted by the Minister of Health. He also revealed that Barbados has recorded another COVID-19 related death.
It is with great sadness that I inform you of the passing of another daughter of the soil who succumbed to the COVID-19 virus last night. The 66-year-old female had a history of diabetes, hypertension, and shortness of breath. She was a primary contact of a COVID-positive patient who tested positive on the 5th of May 2021. She had a negative first COVID-19 test and presented for her second test yesterday. Sometime after returning home, she regrettably passed away. Sincerest condolences are extended to her family and friends. May she rest in peace.
New COVID-19 cases still in the single digits as 4 people, all females, tested positive on Monday from the 436 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. There were also 9 recoveries, while 111 people remain in isolation. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases stands at 3,950. That's 1,910 females and 2,040 males. And there have been 3,870 recoveries. Since February 2020, the Public Health Lab has carried out 159,886 tests. Meanwhile, 75,537 people have been vaccinated with first and second doses against COVID-19. Of that number, 34,653 people have been fully vaccinated. The new CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, is hoping to bridge the information gap between CARICOM and the people of the region. That's just part of her plans for the regional grouping coming into the post. We hear from her in her first address.
On what CARICOM is doing, what CARICOM has done much more frequently and in ways that are easier to digest by the average citizen. But more than that, I believe that we can also bring more groups of stakeholders on board than we have tended to in the past. We've tended to deal primarily with the private sector, with labor in particular, but we've not really had active interventions, active inclusion of the youth population, of the NGO sector more widely.
The mission statement from the Belizean economist has received, well, it comes as she's received glowing commendations from Barbados' Prime Minister, Mia Motley. Ms. Motley has described the Secretary General as the perfect candidate for the job at this critical juncture when economies have collapsed, and what is needed is sound economic advice to lead the region on a path to growth. And that's your 7 a.m. headline news. I'm Shane Seeley. Back over to you, Pearson.
Shane, thank you. We're just about 5.5 minutes after 7 o'clock now. Still to come, we'll be taking a look today at our Doc Talk. We're looking at prostate cancer and what are some of the surgical management processes of prostate cancer. You don't want to miss that. And we'd also meet a young Guyanese Barbadian woman who is in the United States doing some very creative things. She's working from home. We'll meet with her as well right here on Morning Barbados. A break, and when we come back, your Crumbs question of the day.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So it's 7:08. Now time for you to become a winner with Crumbs Bakery. Time for today's Crumbs question of the day. Your turn to call us on 228-5562 or 228-5563 to correctly answer today's Crumbs question of the day. What is that question you're asking? Here it comes. Today's Crumbs question of the day. The question is, in which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? In which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? Do you know in which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? Call us on 228-5562 or 228-5563. Correctly answer and you're a winner. In which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? Try it today. Good luck to all of you who are going to be calling, because you can become a winner with Crumbs Bakery today. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Best of luck to you. Let's turn our attention now to men's health as we encourage all of you to pay close attention, gentlemen, as our doctor talks with us today. He is our urologist, Dr. Paul Rouse. Dr. Rouse, good morning again to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me again on the program.
Thank you again for joining with us, because it's a very serious subject for men to pay attention to, the prostate and the disease of the prostate through cancer. But there are also some very interesting surgical interventions and management systems that are already in place. I want to look at that now. And I know one of the things would be the open radical prostatectomy. What is that about?
Good morning. Well, first, I would like to take a moment, if you indulge me for a minute or so, to let men understand, and women for that matter, to understand the concept that of the three common problems of the prostate, namely benign prostatic enlargement, prostatitis, and prostate cancer, that these are the three common conditions of the prostate, and that these three conditions can all cause a high PSA, they can all cause an enlargement of the prostate gland, all can cause an abnormal feeling prostate gland. And that all three can coexist in the same prostate at the same time. And one of the problems I see, or repeated problems I see in my clinics, a lot of the time men and women will say that they have been managing their condition with herbs. And the thing here is that I need people to understand is that yes, herbs are good for treating BPH. Yes, it's good for treating prostatitis. And a lot of the times when they start having symptoms, they start using herbs and they start feeling better and they think that it's all fine. But they must understand that unfortunately herbs do not treat prostate cancer. And then that's where the surgical management will come in. And surgical management of prostate cancer is really the complete removal of the entire prostate gland. And this can be done in several different ways. The traditional method would be an open radical prostatectomy, where we remove the entire prostate gland, but also more readily available in the developed world is a robotic assisted laparoscopic radical prostatectomy. But the principle is the same in that we remove the entire prostate gland.
So there are benefits and there are risks involved in everything that we do. What are some of the risks involved in having the prostate removed or not removed? And what are some of the benefits of having the prostate removed or not removed?
So one of the first things is that you should really have a good discussion with your urologist. Not all prostate cancer needs to be treated radically and needs a radical prostatectomy. But yes, there are those patients that will need more radical treatment, radical prostatectomy. And obviously one of the things that a lot of men are afraid of is the complications. The immediate complications of bleeding and infection and problems with urinary leak. These, because the surgical technique is so well known and it's been so well researched, that quite frankly nowadays it's very unusual for men to have a transfusion following a radical prostatectomy. And the immediate complications following surgery are quite low now that we've gotten technically very good at this operation. And in most cases, most men, even with an open prostatectomy, are able to go home the next day or day two following the operation. Mm-hmm. So actually now that we've gotten fairly good at the operation, the immediate complications are quite low. And once we choose our patients and select our patients appropriately, the immediate risks are very, very low. is really the long-term complications. We know we can cure men with surgery. We know the outcomes following radical prostatectomy is well over 90% at 5 to 10 years when you look at the big international studies. So we know we can cure men of prostate cancer. So now it's all about quality of life. And yes, one of the most important things that men first are concerned about, once we cure them of the cancer, once we've gotten rid of the cancer, the risk of recurrence is quite low following radical prostatectomy in appropriately selected men. And then the other functional outcomes would be things like incontinence. Again, fortunately, we know the anatomy of the prostate a lot better now. So that risk is less than probably about 1 in 10 men will have persistent problems with controlling the water following radical prostatectomy and may need some intervention in the future. But one of the biggest things is the problems with erectile dysfunction. Yes, this is a real concern because we want a good quality of life and our sexual health is very important. Depending on the surgical technique used, it can be, I would say, on average, probably about 50% of men will have problems. It will vary according to your disease, etc. But I want to reassure men that there's a lot of things that we can do now to manage erectile dysfunction, from tablets to intracavernosal injections to topical agents. And in those instances where none of this works at all, we can even go as far as offering men implants.
What is the difference between prostate cancer and prostatitis, for instance?
Prostatitis is really an inflammation of the prostate gland, just like how we can have appendicitis or pneumonia, which is really inflammation of the lungs, etc. We can have also inflammation of the prostate gland. This can either be acute, and it's usually a bacterial, so acute bacterial prostatitis. That's usually fairly evident in that you're unwell, you have fever, difficulty passing water. So for us men, not only can we get cystitis, which is bladder infection or acute urinary tract infection, we can also have prostatitis and sometimes even ascending into the testicles. So as men, we tend to get a lower urinary tract infection. However, there's also another condition called chronic prostatitis, where you can have this chronic inflammation of the prostate gland. And in some cases, it can be totally asymptomatic. In other words, men have it and aren't even aware of it. A lot of times we pick that up, for example, when we do biopsies looking for prostate cancer. But in some men, they can have chronic prostatitis, which can be a painful condition. And it can be rather difficult to treat because obviously, you don't want to remove the prostate gland for a benign condition. And at the same, but it can be a little bit difficult to treat. But there are treatments available for this as well.
If you do have prostatitis, does it necessarily mean that you will eventually develop into having prostate cancer?
No, there are two different conditions. Yes, we do see some inflammation related to prostate cancer, but we think that there's no direct correlation. In other words, if you have a prostatitis, it doesn't put you at increased risk for prostate cancer. So I'd like to reassure men there's slightly two different conditions. And remember what I said at the beginning of the program. These are the three common conditions of the prostate. BPH, which is associated with lower urinary tract symptoms, prostatitis, and prostate cancer. And the fact that just like how you can have, just the same way you can have a cold and then have appendicitis and then have another problem, you can have all three of these conditions going on in the prostate at the same time. And that's where it's important initially to see your GP if you're concerned about prostatitis, prostate cancer, or lower urinary tract symptoms, so that we can figure out which of these three conditions is the most problematic. Most GPs can manage lower urinary tract symptoms, most GPs will manage prostatitis. But when it comes more to prostate cancer, that's the time when you need to be referred over to a specialist, a urologist like myself.
How do you know when the intervention in my management of my prostate cancer requires removal?
So when you see your urologist, he will take into account several different factors. Let me reassure men that a lot of prostate cancer is what we call indolent. In other words, you're at low risk of death from that. So yes, although people will say we're ageist in terms of when we look at the patient's age, and sometimes we would not offer probably radical prostatectomy in men above the age of 75, it's really because it's all about a risk benefit. As I alluded to earlier, you need to, if your life expectancy is more than, say, about 5 or so years, then yes, we will be a lot more radical in our treatment because you will be alive long enough to see the benefits of that treatment, whether it's surgery, as we're discussing today, or whether it's radiotherapy in the form of either external beam radiotherapy or brachytherapy. So a lot of disease does not necessarily need to be treated very aggressively. But then there are some men with a long life expectancy. So in other words, if you're expected to be alive 5, 10, 15 years down the line, then that's a long time for your cancer that, although it might not be causing any problems right now, for that to go on to develop into more aggressive disease. And therefore, in those men, yes, we then have to consider more radical treatment. But again, we look at different things like your PSA levels. When we do your biopsy, we look at things like your Gleason score. We use MRI as well to assess the stage of your disease. And we use these parameters to assess your risk, quite frankly, of dying from prostate cancer. And those men who are in the intermediate to what we call high-risk categories, yes, we then would treat those men a lot more aggressively or a lot more radically with either radical surgery or radical radiotherapy.
Prostate cancer has often been an older man's disease. Are you seeing younger men presenting with prostate cancer? And if so, around what's the minimum age have you noticed really?
So yes, you're quite right. Yes, before it used to be an older man's disease, but we know that actually a lot of prostate cancer starts quite young, and it's really then as it develops, then it becomes more apparent. So that's the indolent type of disease, but in disease occurring in younger men can be a lot more aggressive because, quite frankly, that's a marker telling you that you have an aggressive cancer. So we usually would recommend that most men, black men especially, would start their screening from about 50 years of age with a digital rectal exam with a PSA. But if you do have a family history of prostate cancer, when we say a family history of prostate cancer, in that you have a father or brother, or for that matter also the other common hormonal cancer, which is breast cancer. So if you have mom, sisters that have had breast cancer, you should be consider having screening with your PSA digital rectal exam roughly about 10 years earlier from when they were diagnosed. So if you have a strong family history, I would recommend probably at least from the age of about 40 or above to start screening for prostate cancer with the PSA, with the digital rectal exam. But this can all be done by your GP, and then if it's appropriate, then be referred on to your urologist.
And actually, as with everything else, the sooner the better, because earlier intervention has a far greater outcome, better outcome.
Yes. Yes, once you catch prostate cancer early, the death from prostate cancer is quite low. Unfortunately, as in Barbados, a predominantly black population, the overall lifetime risk of developing or being diagnosed with prostate cancer is somewhere in the region of 1 in 4 to 1 in 8. Men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer throughout their lifetime. But once you manage prostate cancer appropriately, does not necessarily always mean surgery. Your risk of death from prostate cancer is probably less than 1 in 25 once it's managed appropriately. So therefore, a lot of men will live very long lives and die usually of cardiovascular disease. Unfortunately, eventually, most people, their heart or will give out, and you'll die from other causes rather than die from prostate cancer once you manage it early. And again, I will put a plug in here that yes, herbs do treat BPH and it does treat chronic prostatitis. And a lot of the times men start these herbs and start feeling better. Yes, it's treating that component of their enlarged prostate or that component of what's happening with their prostate disease, but it doesn't treat the prostate cancer. And by the time they come 5-10 years down the line, because now the cancer has advanced to the point now where it's causing trouble, that's usually quite an advanced cancer. That's the stage I don't really want to be treating men, because I know my chance of curing them is quite low. And unfortunately, just like any other cancer, once you have an aggressive cancer, the outcomes are really not good.
I think we know breast cancer so well. We can see when a breast is removed, we see the scarring, we see the change in one's appearance. With prostate cancer, with surgery, when the man stands before the mirror, does he look any different?
Yes, one of the things we have to, I have to counsel men about appropriately is that yes, you will can get some shrinkage of your penis following radical prostatectomy, but we know this, and some of the things that we can put in place is that we can give some drugs to help try to encourage return of your erectile function, and also potentially we can also look at using a vacuum erection device to help maintain your penile length following radical prostatectomy. So some of these measures do work. Although it is a small shrinkage that can happen with radical prostatectomy, it is not really significant. It's really, the key thing is really getting men back potent following surgery. Again, though, that is a conversation that you need to have with your urologist in terms of what you can expect following radical prostatectomy in your case, because depending on how aggressive your cancer is, and again, the stage of your cancer, it determines how aggressive we need to be with our surgery. So there's really a surgical technique where we try to preserve the nerves that subserve your erectile and your continence mechanisms, But in some cases, unfortunately, because the disease might be quite advanced, we are not able to preserve these nerves. And then in those men, we can unfortunately have to consider that there's a good chance there might be impotent following surgery. But rest assured that there are some things that we can do. And hopefully shortly we'll be able to offer the full gamut, not only with oral tablets, but intracavernosal injections, also topical agents, also intramutual devices, injections as well. I'm working with my pharmacy colleagues to get these different drugs available here, but also as well, should it come to that, we'd also be looking at offering men penile implants. I know some of my urology colleagues already offer this as well, but I'll also be working with specialists from overseas to offer this to my men following radical prostatectomy who are impotent.
And the other side, I think a lot of us would cringe a little at is pain management. Is there a need for pain management post prostate removal?
Yes, that was one of our bugbears in medicine for several years, but I would like to reassure men now with a lot of different anesthetic techniques. I work with my anesthetic colleagues, Dr. O'Neill, I work with Dr. Lynch, and we perform a surgical technique what we call tap blocks, and that has been working very well here. Overseas, when I was doing the robotic prostatectomies, we used to again use a similar technique of intrapart. This is on the surface of the abdomen where we do these local anesthetic injections. And with these techniques now, as I suggested earlier, some men, very highly motivated men, can actually go home the day following radical prostatectomy. Even with open radical prostatectomy, once the men are well motivated, although it's a relatively big cut compared to the laparoscopic techniques, they're able to get home the day following surgery. And a lot of times, actually, recently we had a patient who got up and lifted up the sheet because he was like, I don't have any pain. Did you do the operation? So once you work together in that sort of team, you can have really good outcomes in terms of pain management. Yes, everybody's pain is slightly different. So you have some people who are much more stoicy and they're up and running around on just simple paracetamol. Whereas, yes, you do have the other patients that do need something a little bit stronger to manage the pain. But by and large, within 24, 48 hours, most men, once they're highly motivated, we can get them up and get them home following radical prostatectomy.
I think we can breathe a whole lot easier now, knowing that it's not the end of the world, it's not the end of the rope for any of us. You know, there are processes that can assist us live a whole lot longer and a better life as well. Some slight changes, we can live with those once we have life, of course, and knowing that you're already working on some other things to enhance our performance going forward as well. Living with prostate cancer as well is also quite heartening. Dr. Paul Rouse, thank you so very much for joining us this morning for an
thank you very
extended
much for
period.
inviting me.
You're very welcome as well. Thank you for joining. Good man. All right, before we take that break, let's see if we have a winner of today's Crumbs question of the day. It was a question I hope you thought it was really simple as well. In which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? In which Crumbs location can you sit and have coffee? What's the answer? Or do we have a winner? We do have a winner, I suppose, and here we go. The answer is Dover, Christchurch. Dover, Christchurch. What a first name. Look at that. Zalma. Zalma Best. Is that Zalma or Zelma? Zalma Best. Congratulations to you. Well done, Zalma. Very different spelling, but well done to you indeed. Thank you so much for correctly saying to us. It's Dover, Christchurch, in which you at a Crumbs location in which you can actually sit and have coffee. Zalma Best, well done. Someone from Crumbs Bakery will be contacting you to make arrangements with you to collect your delicious delights from Crumbs Bakery. You will experience what we know. They're delicious right down to the very last crumb. We're going to take a break right here. When we come back, there's more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, the things I hear in my ear make me smile indeed. Yes, the audacity. It's time for the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados Childhood Obesity Prevention Quiz. You know what to do now, don't you? You call me on 228-5562 or 228-5563. I'll give you a question. You give me the answer. We'll have a little exchange and then we'll see where we go from there, right? I hope you become a winner today. So are you ready for this? Here is today's question in our Childhood Obesity Prevention Quiz. Today's question is for you today to name for me 2 healthy sources of good fats. 2 healthy sources of good fats. F-A-T-S. Get on the phone right now. Call me 228-5562 or 228-5563. This is all in celebration of Child Month 2021, when the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados Childhood Obesity Program is really bringing greater awareness to good health and nutrition for our children. So name 2 healthy sources of good fats. 228-5562 or 228-5563. They'll let me know when you're there so I can talk with you. So what are 2 healthy sources of good fats? Good morning. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
You're very welcome. I'm well, thank you for asking. So what's your first name?
My name is Charmaine.
Say it again?
Charmaine?
Oh, Charmaine. You have one of those old-fashioned names.
Yes, I do.
That is good. I'm so thankful for that because it makes it so much easier for me to pronounce. So Charmaine, give me 2 good fats, 2 sources of healthy sources of good fats.
That would be nuts and coconut.
You're asking me? Are you telling me?
I'm telling you.
Give me 2 more.
I can't think of any more.
You can't think of any more?
No, they're not correct.
Is coconut a nut or is it something else?
Well, you get fat from coconut.
Uh-huh.
Well,
is it a healthy
actually,
fat? Is it a good healthy fat?
Yes, it is.
How do you know?
And you can get from moringa as well.
Anything
because
else
I like
you can get
to
it
eat
from?
healthy, so I know these things.
Really?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes, I do.
And are you encouraging them also to eat as healthy as you're eating?
Yes, I do.
For true?
Yes.
And they're happy with that?
Yes, they are.
Oh, you are doing so well, Charmaine, to be able to get your children to consider eating healthy. How old are they, by the way?
I have a 9-year-old. He's almost 10, and 17, and 22.
Oh, well done. Well done indeed in getting them on that healthy way of eating. So, what about the avocado? What do you think?
Yes, avocado is definitely healthy. And you
Because
do
you
get
like
fat
it.
from that as well. You're correct.
Oh, you know I don't like avocado at all.
Well, it's actually very good. You should try it.
Do you want to know why?
Why?
Do you know what my first name is?
Pearson?
What is another word for avocado?
Pearson.
I think you get it. You get it. That's right. Not me and that thing at all, but it is actually a very good source of healthy fats as
Yes,
well. But
it
you're
is.
absolutely right. Nuts and the coconuts and so forth are really good. Which nuts do you eat?
I like almonds, cashews.
Here's your brother. Here is your brother. And the thing is, for me, though they're very good sources of healthy fats, you know, they affect me a little differently, but I love them. I love them. I love them indeed. And they're really good fats. So we want to encourage you to encourage other children as well, those who you know, whether they be nieces, nephews, friends, children, to continue considering those nuts and avocado, the coconut, and all of those kinds of things where you can get those great good fats. They're healthy sources as well. So thank you, Charmaine. You've been a good sport. Stay on the line. Someone will be taking some information from you as well. So Charmaine has correctly identified for us at least 2 good sources of healthy fats that you can consider today. And so we want to congratulate her. That's another winner with the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados Childhood Obesity Prevention Quiz. Tomorrow, that winner could be you. We're back after this break with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Time for one of our favorite segments, Bajans Afar. We're happy to connect this morning with Miss Jillian Johnson. Good morning to you, Jillian.
Good morning, how are you?
Listen, I will start with, you have any idea how long I've been trying to get you on the show?
Listen, I am super excited. I was nervous, but I am beyond excited. You have no idea.
Listen, you are so creative, and I stumbled across you by watching what's been happening with our producer today, Alicia Als Grant, her social media page. And I thought every day she had something really stunning around her neck. And I thought, who is this woman? I thought at first it was Alicia, but Alicia told me it was you, Jillian. Well done.
Yes,
look at that.
I'm the culprit.
It is so good to see you today. I'm told, by the way, that you, by way of Guyana, found your way in beautiful Barbados. So you're part Guyanese, part Barbadian. And which one has a stronger pull, Barbados or Guyana?
Listen, anytime I tell someone I'm going home, they know exactly it's Barbados. There's no questions about it.
My kind of girl. Good answer indeed. So here it is now. You are creating some beautiful neckwear and earrings and those kinds of things. What got you started in that?
So, honestly, I miss home so much, and I just kind of wanted to find something to occupy my mind and my time. And I decided to start a new business. But I thank God for my best friend, Andrea Esquith, and her husband, Patrick, that kept me and pushed me and said, listen, God never gave you a spirit of fear. Like, what are you nervous about? Like, go ahead and get it done. And I started it, and I'm super excited I did.
So essentially, you hunt for some very unique pieces, and you make it possible for the ladies to be able to adorn themselves and feel very confident in what they're wearing as well. So this keen eye, really, because, you know, I could walk down the road, I see a piece, and I think, oh, well, they put two shells together, good for them. But you see something else. So where did this talent at identifying works of art really come from?
I think what has happened was pretty much I had to come out of myself. Because if I look at stuff that I like, not necessarily you will like it. So as I started to deal with people and I started to see their patterns and I started to look outside of what people are, that is. As you learn your customers, your taste change to suit them, not you. I had to learn that. And yes, before Julie would never be wearing a wooden necklace and all that. I'm very, very simple. But this business has opened my eyes to the possibilities of mixing textures and prints and patterns. And
But you know, you have a regular 9-to-5. And there it is, you're able to do both. How are you balancing the urge to do what you do so well creatively, as well as do your regular bank work?
To be honest with you, it is hard. I am an administrative assistant, and I have like 11 bankers that I support.
Yes.
But yes, so it's beyond 9-to-5. But I make sure that I focus on my business because that's the legacy I want to leave. At some point, I want to be able to focus on that completely and not work for someone else. But with how situations are, you have to kind of have both. But I find the time, and COVID did not make it easy at all. It made me feel like I wanted to give up. It was like a gut punch, like, how am I going to do this? Doing my jewelry means I got to interact with people. And I'm an asthmatic, so automatically that fear stepped in. I was like, oh my Lord, I got to stay inside. So I had to work around all of that and become creative and start going on Facebook and being live with people. And you can find a way through anything. Once you have faith and you believe in yourself, there's absolutely no stopping you.
That's such a powerful statement. You can do anything as long as you have faith and believe in yourself. And, you know, I believed in you right away when I saw your work around the neck of Alicia Als. And I said, I got to get to know you. I really need to get to know you because there's so much that you pour out in what you do on social media that people really are engaging with, and that's good. So you are also being able to market yourself in your Facebook lives, your social media lives as well. And so people are able to sit with you and chat. So you get to know whose neck you're going to be adorning or whose ears you're going to be beautifying. So Alicia, or I'm told that our producer Alicia has never met you personally?
No, let me tell you something. I met her through Andrea. Andrea is my lifeline. That is my sister, my everything.
Yes.
And I met Alicia through her, and Alicia and I have become such great friends, and I cannot wait to go back home
To see this
other
person.
COVID because I want to go home just to meet her. She's super, super amazing and super sweet and so supportive of my business. For her not to have met me and be so supportive, it tells and it speaks of the people of Barbados. Like, that's how we are, you know, we look out for each other. We don't just leave each other by the wayside. So I cannot wait to
I want to show.
just vaccinated Alicia. She'll be good.
She's coming, bro. Alicia, look out, she's coming. So let's look at some of, if you can, share some of the pieces that you do provide. So if there's a lady watching today who is thinking, you know, maybe I can contact Jillian and Jillian can identify for me for the occasions just what I need. And there it is. We can find you on your Instagram page.
Yes, I'm kind of working on my Instagram page. I'm more so focused on Facebook a lot, but I'm branching out on Instagram now, trying to, you know, widen my space.
Yeah.
Jewelry pretty much should make you enhance whatever outfit you're wearing. I'm wearing a simple white t-shirt. Everyone would think a t-shirt, but yes, you can wear a nice piece of jewelry, and that t-shirt looks like something rather expensive, or you look rather expensive.
Yes.
Most of the pieces start at $5, which is so affordable, and all the pieces are laminated free, which means that it will not irritate your skin. You can wear it without worry. But then there are pieces that are $25, which are, I'm going to a gala, I need to look extra nice for my husband, kind of pieces. I have one particular, this is a $25 piece. This does not look like a $25 piece.
No, it does
not. But it is. And every single necklace that I sell comes with a free pair of earrings. You never have to go hunting for one.
You're such a woman. You are such a woman.
I am. I'm a girly girl to my core.
Clearly. So you go hunting for pieces and then you have them there available for folks. So if, again, for the woman who is watching at the moment who is thinking, I really do need to connect with Jillian. I can find you, we can find you on your Facebook page, Jillian Johnson, or we can go to Elan's, I think, what's the name of it again? On the Instagram?
So my website is, my website is pretty easy for them to navigate. It's elansjewelbox.com. But Facebook is the best way to get me, my name. And they can message me, they can send me a WhatsApp. It doesn't matter. I'm very, very responsive. So I'm happy to meet you guys, my future customers and friends. I don't look at my customers anymore as customers. I embrace everybody as my family because that's my nature. I'm a people's person. So I literally claim them as my own. And what is different about me or my life, I pray with my customers. If I know someone is sick, I pray for them. If I know someone is celebrating something, I shout them out and celebrate them because it's more than just jewelry. Especially in these days, it cannot just be about superficial things.
That's right.
So I cannot wait. Just message me and I'll work with you one-on-one, or we could do a general live. I'm very flexible.
And you're very, very good at what you do as well, because when I see Alicia's pictures, you know, and Alicia's, there it is, folks, look at your screen. There it is, Elan's Jewel Box, E-L-A-N-S, Jewel Box, and that's exactly where she is on Facebook. You can see everything there. She goes live as well, and she's able to interact with you. You really can become quite the star, folks, by the way you look. And as Jillian would have just shared with you, she's wearing a very simple white t-shirt, but look, you don't see the t-shirt, you just see the stunning neckwear and earrings as well. So that's what it's all about, being able to adorn oneself, to feel beautiful, to look beautiful in very affordable ways as well. That's critical to you, isn't it? Affordability.
It is very, very important because these days you have to save a penny where you can. And I literally just want women especially, I mean, we have jewelry for men as well and kids.
You do?
But I want to really focus on, yes, I do. I do have male pieces, chains, wristlets, everything.
So why I don't ever see them, Jillian? Why don't I ever see them?
Listen, how about the next package I have to send for Alicia, I can make sure I have some stuff for you.
I hold you to that, Jillian.
Free of cost. This is for Lucy.
That sounds good to me.
You too, like what you?
Yeah, but that sounds good. Mind you, my wrist is very small, okay? It's not a big wrist.
The beautiful part about it is that some of them have the stretch. So you can either stretch it or you can literally pull it open. So you don't have to be restricted to the size of your wrist
Yes.
at all.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear. Now, Gillian, some of the things I always ask folks from afar when they're with us, a couple questions. One, Gillian, I know you say you can't wait to meet Alicia, but put that aside. If you were to land on Barbados right now, where's the first place you'd like to go?
Listen, this may sound terrible, but the first place I go is Prostate. I'm very sorry, but I need some chicken and I need some roti in my life. I will get those and I will go down to Pebbles Beach, take off my shoes and just sit there. I want nobody talk to me. I just want breathe in and eat. That's it. Nowhere else.
You see, you're so bitchin' for real, Gillian. All right, so we got that. So what's the first thing you'd want to eat? Now, put aside the rotis and everything else. What's the other thing that you'd want to eat?
My best friend Andrea makes a mean fried fish.
For true?
I mean, like nobody else I've ever tasted. So I definitely want to go home with her and just sit down and talk and eat some fish to my heart's content. If you ain't know it, check out Andrea. She's real good.
Listen, the minute she walks in this door today, I am finding Andrea to ask about this fried fish. She has never told me about that.
Yes.
So, Andrea, girl, you have just been exposed. All right, so those are the couple of things. So we got that, we have the place to go, the thing to eat. And who do you think will be that one person for sure you have to meet?
No, I've called her name several times, but I'm an only child, and I met Andrea through some weird circumstances. I was her sister-in-law, but for neither here or there.
Yes.
But honestly, I just really want to be in her presence. I truly miss her. My circle of friends is back in Barbados, and Andrea is my sister, and I feel her spirit when something is wrong with her, and she feels mine. I literally just want to be in her space more than anyone else in Barbados. I'm sorry to everybody else, my family and friends, but Andrea is my person, and I just want to hug her because life has been hard these past 2 years. I've never been away from the island this long, so I just need her. Period.
That's so beautiful. I know that's all right. I think that's absolutely beautiful. I love the spirit of it indeed. Gillian Johnson, it has been my immense pleasure meeting you this morning after so long.
Well.
We've been running after you for months trying to get you to come, and you finally agreed. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Barbados this morning, and I wish you every success with your 9 to 5, but with your additional job of providing beautiful pieces for people to enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Take care.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Gillian Johnson is her name, jewelry and adornment. Her game, indeed, so I encourage you to be a part of it. A break, and when we come back, you'll meet him.
morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, last Friday, we officially welcomed him to the family on 98.1 The One. You've seen him on television. This morning, it's our immense pleasure to reintroduce you to Black Rose Supreme. Good morning to you, Black Rose Supreme. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning, good morning. Thank you for having me.
You don't play the shy card on me this morning. You know, for those who don't know you, he's smiling. He always has such a serious countenance, but he is really, really good at what he does. Beautiful voice as well. Welcome to CBC.
Thank you.
You started on the air last Friday morning in the midday, and that's the slot you will be holding on 98.1 The One. How did that first weekend go for you?
It was actually a bit jittery for me, being that, you know, I've been off the air for a while. I had to get accustomed to the controls and stuff like that. And I didn't even realize that my voice got way bigger over the time. So I was kind of coming through loud. But it felt like the first time I went on air, the first time, you know, being scared that I might slip up or whatever. It felt good, but I was a little scared. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little scared. But all in all, it definitely was a very good experience. You know, being back on radio, being a part of the 98.1 The One family, and you know, being able to turn up in every single household in Barbados and across the Caribbean and worldwide to those who be listening outside.
So, but you've been in radio for a little bit now. What started you in radio, really?
I think what really made me want to get into radio would have been, I guess you could say, my voice. So for those who don't know, in earlier times, I did some mall promotions and stuff like that, so little store promotions. So set up a little speaker with a microphone and, you know, talk about the sales and the products they have on sale and stuff like that. And someone actually came to me and was like, hey, I think you have a nice voice. Maybe you should get into radio, doing commercials and stuff like that. I was probably about 19 or 20. So the thought of that wasn't even something that was like on my mind. And I know it may seem strange for some people, but I never intended to take up a microphone as a DJ or whatever. I was just supposed to be a guy who's playing music or whatever. But you know, that time came, that happened. I started doing some commercials, got into production and stuff like that. And yeah, I was kind of back and forth throughout different stations here in Barbados. And then what really made me get into it, when I realized that I wasn't really getting the chance to be on radio here, I created a radio show, and that radio show was aired in about 10 to 12 different countries across the Caribbean. That was a syndicated show. That would have been my first official touch and feel of radio. So it's from listening to radio here, listening to radio there, understanding exactly what is radio, and then packing all that into a 1 hour commercial-free syndicated show that was aired, you know, across the Caribbean. And from there, I started doing radio here. And yeah, the experience just grew and grew.
Yes.
Yeah.
Music is a very big part of who you are. You know, what does music mean to you, and being able to play the music, manipulate the music, create the music even? What does that mean to you?
Music means a lot to me, to be honest. Like I always tell people, if it wasn't for music, I don't know where I would be. Those who would have been in my class at school, they would give some level of trouble. But I would always do my work or whatever. But the distraction was always music. Why was I late for class? Music.
Yes.
Why I may have missed a class. Not saying I missed a class, but
music.
Why would I have missed a class? Probably music. You know, from being in the stairwells, clashing with Walkmans and CD and tape decks, and and taking the speakers from the computer room and stuff like that. Like all that happened from a very young age. And then on top of that, the fact that when I entered first form at Les Levon, almost everyone who was in the class was tied to music in some way or another. Shout out to Jalisa Mears from Rhythm Tribe. She was in my class. Judy Duke Eastman, his son was in my class. And it was like the whole class was just around music. So before DJing, we would have been chanting and stuff like that. Then I got into playing the music from third form. And, you know, as time went on, I kind of got interest into the technical side of things, the CD players, the speakers and stuff like that. And it just kind of went on. Some people didn't, you know, believe in it because no one really thought in those times that being a DJ is a career.
Profession, I know. But here you are now. Here you are now. You're with us at 98.1 The One, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. What do you think you're bringing different? Because I really want people to tune into you. So tell us what it is that we can expect with you, Black Rose Supreme, on the air on 98.1.
You can expect some of everything. Some pop, some EDM, house, electro, dancehall for sure, because that's my genre. Hip hop, because I love hip hop as well. Soca, when it comes to soca, you could find the different edits and intros that I do. Being that I'm into production, you can get a remix here or there, whether it's a dancehall, a hip hop, or soca remix. Definitely some Afro beats, and of course, local music as well. So you can look for everything. A well-rounded show in terms of versatility, in terms of the interactions and stuff like that. And, you know, being that we aren't able to go out and party as yet, you can definitely expect to party and have a blast in my show on 98.1 The One.
9 to 1. So quick questions, quick answers. How tall are you?
6'3".
Tall. And what's your favorite food?
Macaroni pie and baked chicken with baked potato, coleslaw, and potato salad.
That's more than one food, man. Macaroni pie, the baked chicken, all of those kinds of things. That's a total dish.
That's the dish.
Listen, you clearly eat very well. Some of my favorite things you eat indeed. We really want to thank you this morning and welcome to the family, Black Rose Supreme. Remember, folks, you can hear him on 98.1 The One, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Good seeing you, my friend. Have a wonderful today.
Same to you as well.
All right. Peace out. That's Black Rose Supreme on 98.1 The One. Join him. We had hoped to have Barry Chandler today. We're going to try to get Barry Chandler on another day. But that's it for it today, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. We hope to see you again tomorrow, right? Bright and early. Take care. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.